Jessica, wake up.
I wasn't sleeping. I was just hyper-focusing on the back of my eyelids.
Oh, hello, brains. If you're watching this at 3 in the morning, chances are you're having trouble sleeping. Possibly because you're watching YouTube at 3 in the morning. But possibly not. It's easy to assume that procrastinating on going to bed or watching TV too close to bedtime is the reason we're not getting enough sleep. And if we just avoided blue light and went to bed at a reasonable hour, that would solve the problem. The truth? Probably not. Don't get me wrong. Leaving screens out of the bedroom and going to bed earlier might help us get more sleep. Might. But it's not typically the reason we're having trouble sleeping in the first place. Turns out there's a lot of good reasons those with ADHD have trouble getting enough sleep. And it's important to understand them so that we can address them. Wow, that's a lot of things. Because as much as functioning on 2 hours of sleep and 5 coffees might earn us bragging rights in certain circles, those of us with ADHD need sleep. Like, really need sleep. Not getting enough sleep impacts many of the same executive functions affected by ADHD, making it even harder to do well at school and at work. It makes our emotion dysregulation even worse, which can impact our relationships. And it can even make anxiety and depression worse. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the most common reasons those with ADHD struggle to get enough sleep, so we can hopefully start to do something about it. But first, this video is possible because of the support of our sponsor.
If you like to learn, which I'm assuming if you're watching this video you do, but you also like being cozy and curling up on the couch at home, may I recommend Babbel. Babbel is the world's first and best-selling language learning app. It's great. Babbel can get you started speaking a new language in 3 weeks. The lessons are created by real language teachers, which is part of why I love it.
Provo anche la gonna nera.
I've been using it for a while, and I'm really happy with how much I've learned and how immediately useful it's been.
Servano 250 grammi di mozzarella.
I was even able to travel to Italy while I was pregnant and get around, asking about what was in dishes so I could keep my baby safe. Now that I'm home and the baby is here, I'm continuing to learn, and I'm even more appreciative of how easy it is to pick up, put down, and pause while I take care of my baby. I'm learning how to speak about future events now. It's really building my confidence to realize I can make progress even when I don't have a ton of time to dedicate to it. I love that my daughter is already being exposed to different languages. And not just that. I want to instill in her a love of learning. And what better way to do that than keep learning myself and model it for her?
Are you going to learn some Italian? Let's learn some Italian.
Spending more time snuggled up with this language learning app and hanging out with my baby at home is one of my hashtag goals this season, so I can go into the new year feeling more confident about myself and my skills. If you'd like to join me, this is a great time to do it. Click on my link to get 67% off during Babbel's best sale of the year.
Still here? Yay, okay. So what's going on here? Why is sleep so problematic for those with ADHD? Well, first of all, we don't stop having ADHD just because it's bedtime. A lot of the challenges we face during the day, we face at night too. Even getting through a bedtime routine requires focus. And honestly, we get distracted. So that's the first thing. Sleep is a challenge for those with ADHD because we have ADHD, and all of the executive function difficulties that come with having ADHD that can get in the way of our performance at school or at work can also get in the way of getting to bed on time. Anxiety and depression are both really common with ADHD, both of which are going to add their own challenges, often in the form of ruminating thoughts, which we might be on our screens because we're trying to avoid. We also may be dealing with sleep disorders. As I shared in my book on the chapter on sleep, sleep disorders are common with ADHD, really common. Like, if you have ADHD, you probably have one common. According to the first edition of Sleep and ADHD, an evidence-based guide to assessment and treatment published in 2019, 73% of children and adolescents and 80% of adults with ADHD experience sleep disorders. Some of the more common ones, obstructive sleep apnea. This sleep disorder, characterized by snoring and pauses in breathing during sleep, is more common among adults, but it does occur in children, especially children with ADHD. Restless leg syndrome. This condition causes an intense, often irresistible urge to move your legs, particularly when you're sitting or lying down. Unlike ADHD-related hyperactivity, it happens mostly at night and often gets worse with age. I have restless leg syndrome, can confirm. Periodic limb movement syndrome. You know how your leg kicks or your arm flops all of a sudden when you're falling asleep? It has a name. At least it does when it keeps happening every 20 to 40 seconds and long enough to interfere with sleep. Interesting side note, this is different from the hypnic jerk, the sudden movement of your entire body that happens as you're falling asleep. those don't usually interfere with sleep. Sleepwalking and night terrors. These sleep disorders occur when the lines between awake and asleep are blurred. They're often first observed in childhood by parents. Insomnia. You're awake at 3 a.m. You've probably heard of this one. Insomnia occurs whenever you want to sleep but can't sleep due to difficulties falling asleep or staying asleep. And it is also one of the criteria for delayed sleep phase syndrome, which I've done a video on the channel about. Feel free to check that out. This occurs when your body's internal clock or its circadian rhythm is delayed by 2 or more hours. For example, you might naturally want to sleep from 3 a.m. to noon, but your schedule disagrees. And excessive daytime sleepiness. This condition is exactly what it sounds like. If you're falling asleep in the middle of a movie at your friend's house or missing a shift because you can't stay awake, it doesn't mean you're a bad friend or a lazy employee. It could be a sign that something is wrong. Even if you don't have a sleep disorder and can stay focused on a bedtime routine, there are still a bunch of reasons why it can be harder to get to sleep when you have ADHD.
I'll talk about that in an upcoming video. Subscribe so you don't miss it.
As you can see, there are a lot of factors involved in the sleep difficulties we face, but once you know what you're up against, there are treatments and strategies that can help. We might have to get creative. Thankfully, we're good at that. Thank you to our brain advocates and all our Patreon brains for supporting this content. It feels so good to get back to the science communication videos. If you'd like to learn more about ADHD and sleep, again, I have a whole chapter about it in my book, available anywhere books are sold and in digital and audiobook formats. Also, I want to make more videos about ADHD and sleep. I did not realize until last week that I have all of one on the channel until now. So let me know in the comments below if you want me to dive deeper into anything I talked about here, if you'd like me to talk more about individual sleep disorders or strategies that can help with sleep in general. Let me know. In the meantime, I hope you found this video useful. If so, share, like, subscribe, click all the things, and I will see you next video. Bye, brains. I'm gonna go take a nap. But seriously, my book makes a great gift for the brains and hearts in your life. It also helps me pay for childcare so that I can sleep. Okay, bye. Did you know we have a Discord community through Patreon? When you support the work we do on How to ADHD, you get access to a global supportive community and other Patreon perks. If you'd like to join us, go to patreon.com/howtoadhd.